At one point, I was also suicidal, so I was on anti-suicidal medication. So I had these sections of months where I would be extremely depressed and I would not leave my room. I would just be in my room staring at my roof. Depression doesn't necessarily look like being in your bed the whole time and not wanting to see even your family members. That was one phase. And it could also look like a very highly functional phase of your life. This is one misconception people have, that when you found your passion, that's it. Everything is awesome after that. We had an upbringing where we were rewarded for doing something that our parents thought was right, and we were given a lecture or a beating, depends upon how your upbringing was, for things that did not seem to be correct as per your parents. If you have a level of presence with yourself, you will be able to navigate through the shoulds and musts.
Thank you for being willing to share your story here. And I am so happy that we are able to share this with so many people who can probably benefit out of this conversation. And I just wanted to mention a little bit how I know you from before. So I think I found you on Facebook. I think we have a lot of mutual friends. So that's how I have been looking at your content. And then I met you. I attended actually one of your group coaching sessions, which I found was very transformative. And myself, being a student of personal development for the longest time, I felt like your work was very transformative, and I really liked it. And so then I just did the group coaching, and then I've been working with you one-on-one, and it has been a great pleasure. It has been so fun actually discovering myself, and I feel like this has been so rewarding to be working with you. So it would be great if you could share your story now, because you always are on the other end, right? So it would be nice if you could share your stories and your struggles so we can learn a lot more about you as well.
I am so excited, but before that, I remember that you had sent me this longish message on
I did, yes.
how I had impacted your life, and that was so unexpected because people are observing you while you're not aware of that. And that was my moment of realizing that, whoa, you had written some points and I was blown away. And and I was doing this workshop. It was a 3-hour workshop, and you had sent me a message, and I was like, you know what, Azu, join us. And I think within 5-10 minutes, you had made the payment, you shared the screenshot. I was like, this girl is really fast and she knows what she wants. And as I'm saying it, I have goosebumps right now, because that level of receptivity is insanely inspiring. And for people, for coaches like me, who don't just work with anyone, who have a very selective criteria, for people like me, you're a blessing. And I keep sharing this with my coach friends that, I have a client like that. And I'm not saying this just because we're doing a podcast, but quite literally, you're that client for me, which sets a benchmark for me. And because you didn't stop at the workshop that we did. It was a 2-part workshop. You right away joined our group coaching. And one thing that human beings say the most when they are presented with something that they need and they're told the price, usually this thing comes out of their mouth, ki, it's expensive, or I'm not sure if I want to invest right now or not. The first thing that you had said when I told the price of the group coaching, you were like, it's so cheap, thank you so much. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Oh, I was, because there were more people on the call, and I was like, whoa, this girl is onto something for sure. And when people get to know my one-on-one prices, they're usually like, oh, this is so expensive, right? And I just know it from first hand that they're not my people, right? Because if you're not investing in yourself, and for whatever reason, it's not something wrong or bad, and you want massive results, you want someone to pay you that much money, but you're not willing to invest that yourself, that just shows that there's a lot of misalignment, right? So they're not ready for that level of working with a coach in the first place. But I remember this thing, you'd shared, you said something like, oh, I know that you charge $10,000, and can I connect someone with you too? And I don't want to take names because it's personal, of course. And I was still deconditioning myself from my past experience with the past clients that a conversation on price will come up, but you didn't even initiate it. You started from there, like, yeah, I know your price, but how can we work together? And I'm quite literally blessed to have a client like you, because I don't know if clients always realize that, but you add energy to the coach's life, because I wake up to your messages, I sleep with your messages, right? I'm a very deep part of your process, your journey, and how you show up in life is also impacting me, and the speed with which you pick up on things, right? And I'm amazed when, if we've had a call yesterday and today you send me this very progressive message, I'm like, whoa. And even when you send me a message of something you discovered which is very dark, even then as a coach I do a celebration, because I know now you have something more to process. So yeah, I think we've moved to Arzu.
It's unbelievable that you keep saying that I'm your blessing, though. It's still like, I can't really believe it, because I feel like you like have been very important in my transformation, and you keep calling me your blessing. So, well, I guess it works both ways, right? And I do remember, though, one time, I don't remember if it was the longest message that I sent to you, but I'm pretty sure that I sent you one of the messages where I said that I used to think, well, I was watching a lot of Elon Musk's videos, and that guy works a lot, and I was conditioning myself to be like that, and I was just working a lot, and I was burning out. And then in probably in your content on Facebook, you were saying that no, you don't have to burn out, you don't have to like work so hard that you are going crazy, and you can still get massive results. And I was like, oh wow, I want that, right? Because I'm on the other end of the spectrum right now, but I want to go on the other end where I want all the results, but I don't have to like kill myself to get all the results. So yeah, some of your content was like really inspiring and was like really aligning with what I wanted, and somehow I felt like I did not know how to get there. So I guess that's how, like, one step at a time, we just grew closer to for me to get all the answers that I wanted. Okay, all right, I don't want to like talk a lot about myself, because we want to know more about you. I can just start my question. I know you are a CA, right? And yes, and being a chartered accountant in India is so difficult. It is crazy hard. And I know that firsthand because my best friend is a CA. And she has been like the topper in her class throughout. And she was crying in her exams. And she, when she was taking her CA exams, and I think she failed it like 3 times, or I don't know, 2 times and got it the 3rd time, or she failed 3 times, got it the 4th time. Like, I think the last one is the hardest. And I think only like 3% of the population gets it, like is able to clear the exam. And I mean, I was so happy when she got it. I think I distributed sweets when I was here in America and she was in India. So I know it's such a big deal. And I know she was going through a hard time when she was in her journey, right? It was really, really hard for her. So I wanted to ask you that how did you take care of yourself when you were actually in your CA journey, and how did it transform you as a person being like in a very, very tough journey of life?
Yeah. At this point in life, I am still processing those 6 years when I was a CA student. So at that time, it wasn't just the difficulty of the program, of the course, of the degree, but also I was going through very strong, acute depression. Clinical depression and medicinal, because I was on a lot of medication. So that's why it was just way too hard. Like, even right now, even as a coach, like, it's difficult for me to understand what was the driving factor that I just kept going and I actually passed. And CA itself being such a difficult degree, I think it comes in top 5 in the most difficult degrees in the world. So how did I take care of myself? I had to take extra care of myself whenever I could, because of the whole depression, anxiety, and at one point I was also suicidal, so I was on anti-suicidal medication. I did a lot of things. I had to do a lot of things to just perform at a basic human level. Which, what I mean by that is just to get out of bed and brush my teeth and get back in bed. Just this much I had to do a lot just to perform to this level. But at the same time, in CA, I had to study for hours and hours. So I had these sections of months where I would be extremely depressed and I would not leave my room. I would just be in my room, staring at a wall, staring at my roof, and not realizing when, morning converted into night. And then I had these months of, I had to perform. Like, there was no other option. I had to give my exams. I had to prepare for that. I had to go to the library. I would reach at 6 a.m. I would study till 10 p.m. So, like, there are various phases of depression. Depression doesn't necessarily look like being in your bed the whole time and not wanting to see even your family members. That was one phase. And it could also look like a very highly functional phase of your life where you're a robot almost and you're numbed out. And I was actually quite literally numbed out because of the medication, right? And you're performing. You don't see anything else. It's a very linear life. You're just, what you got to do. And I used to keep a track of minute by minute of my day. So if I've gone to the second floor to have my lunch in the library building, and if I reach back at 2:31 and not 2:30, it goes in my journal. I would mention that I was 1 minute late, and then I have to compensate for it during the day, right? And maybe I reduce my break time or I leave the library a bit late. I would anyway leave the library when it was time for the library to shut down. So I was going to a doctor, he would give me medication, but I wouldn't call that as a way that I took care of myself. I used to go to a lot of self-development programs after a point. When I started realizing that this is not taking me anywhere, I need to take more charge and I need to figure out something that I haven't figured out yet. I would go to a lot of self-development programs, and it's not a very good recipe for you to be depressed and for you to be in programs which are meant for people who are already very hyperactive in life. Like, yeah, let's have sales and blah, 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 blah. If the energy doesn't match. So that's why it just made everything even more wobbly, because the root cause of the depression wasn't been taken care of. It wasn't getting healed. It wasn't getting addressed. I didn't even know that what was the reason of the depression. I just knew that I'm very upset in life and I had some idea about it. I told my doctor about it and he was like, eh. It's so crazy that my own doctor, who I was going to since 3 years, wasn't too interested in the reason and would just prescribe me stronger and stronger medication. So yeah, like, my answer would be very different from another student pursuing a difficult degree, because it was just, I required more and I required different kind of support. But I would say one thing that helped me was having my family support. My father, in my entire family, my father was the one who was there. Like, he got it. He wasn't just there, he got it. He got me. And I still can't understand how a man can be so occupied in his own life. He would work really hard and come back and from office, and he would see me still in bed crying, still not knowing the reason. When he would ask me, what's up, like, why are you crying, I would not have a reason. I would just be crying, and I did not have a reason. And he would just be there with me and provide as much support as he could as per his understanding. And I don't think in my human life I will be able to understand what was his strength factor, that irrespective of his life struggles at that time, his mental tensions, he was able to be there for me. So much so that, he would just ask me to get out of bed and just go for a walk with him in the colony. That's it. That's all that he would ask for. And I wouldn't do that. And he had to talk to me for 10 minutes just to make me get out of bed, wear my slippers, and just go for a walk with him. I don't know if I have that level of strength to do that for someone else. You might want to give up after a point, right? Like, fine, she doesn't want to go, so I can't make her go, but he would just be there and hold space for me. So yeah, I think my father's support has been incredible.
I just have like a few follow-up questions on that. You said that when you were in your journey, you had to work, right? You had to study, and you had to do that. Is it not the same anymore? Is it because you don't feel the same way because the kind of work that you do is more aligned to your personality or to an ambitious person's personality? Or like, what has changed? I guess my question is, how would even one know, if even if they're depressed or not?
Really like that question. That I had to's then. Do I still have them? If not, then what happened? So it's not entirely because I'm doing something that I'm aligned to. I found something that I'm aligned to because I taught myself to let go of the had to's and the shoulds and the musts. Because till the time you're still feeding to them, you're still feeding to your shoulds, you're still feeding to your musts, you're gonna stay in the trap of your conditioning, whatever that is. You won't find something that you absolutely love doing. You find something you love doing when you've given yourself a moment of pause. Fine, I don't know what I love doing, and I am not surrendering to all these opportunities that are coming to me, which are really amazing opportunities, but it's a should opportunity. Just because I'm not earning right now, I think I should take a job, which is fine for some people. They have to. I got a lot of opportunities in the starting phase of my career, which I was still figuring out what I want to do, right? And like, I would have this conversation with my father, and he would say that please pursue your passion, but you can also do this finance job, etc. Right? There was one part of my heart that just kept saying that nope, nope, nope. And it was so difficult to say no at that time, especially to people who care about you, right? So that means that they're going to see you suffer a bit more. I did not give in to my shoulds and musts for me to eventually find something that I love doing. And this is one misconception people have, that when you found your passion, that's it. Everything is awesome after that. No, because some old parts of you, they still exist and you're not aware of them. So they're going to come up in the process, right? So even in this business that I'm doing, my shoulds and musts come up, and I have to process them. That, do I really want to do that right now? Where is it coming from? Where did I learn that I should take this opportunity, that I should do? And in fact, in last 3-4 months itself, I did some things that I thought I should do because they're awesome. And I learned from it that, this is not for me. I used to get invited to these events which were which would invite speakers like CEOs and MDs, mostly men, of big companies, right? And when you get an invitation for an event like that, and especially to speak in an event like that, the should would say that, just say yes, go. This is so awesome for your branding, for LinkedIn. But when I would attend these events, I realized that there is no soul in it for me. There is no hard work. Why am I here, right? And it had a very dry sort of feel to it. And after processing that, I realized that I want to be in events, in situations, in environments which are more heart based, which are more value based, and not ki we're doing it because we're doing it. Let's call an MD because that person is big name, right? It doesn't match with my value system. So if you have a level of presence with yourself, you will be able to navigate through the shoulds and musts.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is that aligning your work with your personality is important, right? And so the work that you should do, or you would want to do, should be something that you're passionate about. But again, how does one person figure out what their passions are? Like, suppose if I'm doing something since the beginning of time, something that I've been programmed to do. For example, a lot of Asian parents are like, oh, you have to study science, right? And now I am not very happy, but I can do it, right? But I'm not very connected to it, but I can do a decent job at it. So how would one proceed, or how would you proceed to finding your passion? Is it important to find your passion?
Good question. And that's a question that everybody should ask themselves. The fact that you're asking that question to yourself means that you have become a bit more aware of your own life. You're asking this question for a reason. So before you find your passion, you really got to identify for yourself, what are your values? What is your value system? What do you want your value system to be like? For example, if your value system revolves around, my parents should be happy with me, with my choices. They should be valid, what's that word? Shit, I'm forgetting that word.
Validated?
Yeah. That my choices should be validated by my parents. If they're not, I'm going to tweak or just literally let go and then choose something which looks like a good decision in my parents' eyes. Because we had an upbringing where we were rewarded for doing something that our parents thought was right, and we were given a lecture or a beating, depends upon how your upbringing was, for things that did not seem to be correct as per your parents. So you've been conditioned to think from the perspective, from your parents' perspective, right? So before you even find your passion is nothing, but it's just a reflection of you. Everything in your life, it is just a reflection of you. Right? So if you feel that it's fine that I'm doing a job which pays well and it's, it's good in the eyes of my Asian parents, great. You're still living by your own values, which here in this case are value of taking those decisions which seem really nice in my parents' eyes. So that's still your value. You're living with it. And what the work you're doing is just a reflection of your value. And then when you start realizing that, you know what, I think it's time for me to move on from this value of being very much validated by my parents at all times, to, you know what, I want to do a work which lights me up, which makes me feel like I'm not even working, which I can see the direct impact of that on people, which allows me to work from anywhere, which enables me to decide how much I earn and some other organization is not deciding for me, which enables me to just, go to any country and serve the people of that country, right? And as you start looking at the new values that you want in your life, the paths that open up, they're going to be a reflection of that. So it's like, it's not really an egg chicken question, but we think it's an egg chicken question, that do I find my passion first, start living my passion, and then my life will change, right? How I feel? Or is it that you first change how you feel and what your value system is, and then your passions and your aligned paths show up in front of you? So in those 3 months, I created everything from scratch. So I started with a very tiny idea. I assembled a team. We literally used to have 30 people as crew in our studio. When you're creating something and the momentum catches up, in less time you can create even more, right? So that's why I encourage my clients, stop thinking how something will turn up. You don't know, you can't know unless you're actually in the motion and you're creating something. Things are not supposed to be expensive. If you don't have a budget, you can still make things happen, especially in a country like India. Leaves don't change overnight. Creating the show was from this thriving creative zone. But then now my survival mode and my ego mind was like, you got to do some real work, right? Which is good enough in the eyes of your parents and in the eyes of your society. If you want to do it properly, I am going to create a program for you after talking to you, right? Let's gonna get on a discovery call. I'm gonna have a conversation with you, and then I'm gonna create a program with you, and I'll tell you the price on that call. I did that. We got on a call. I told her the price. She was like, I'm in. I was like, what? This is good. After the session, I almost felt like I'm flying, and everything looked brighter, quite literally. All my six senses were almost as if like you take drugs and you feel good, right? Like I was just boom, lit up. Even at that time, I was trying to please my parents unconsciously.